All right, good evening, everyone. It is the City of Sunbury Council meeting on July 2nd, 2025, 7:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer, the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call, please.
Mayor St. John.
Here.
Mr. Capel.
Here.
Mr. Ayer. Here. Mr. Grumney. Mrs. Cooper. Here. Mr. Martin is absent and Mr. Ghost is absent. By present, we have quorum.
Thank you. We had a meeting on June 18th, 2025, looking for a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion approved.
A motion by Mr. Grumney,
Second.
second by Mr. Capel. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Grumney.
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Mr. Ayer. Yes. Mayor St. John.
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. 5 yeas, minutes passed.
All right, next item on the agenda is the visitor section, and this evening we have a scheduled visitor, the Big Walnut Civic Association. They're going to be discussing the 4th of July and Sunbury Sizzle and Sound. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Here, I want to point out they were the rowdy group out.
Jillian Doucette Banton, 630 Flintlock Drive, Galena, Ohio, with the Big Walnut Civic. Thank you for having us tonight. We are here tonight to share with the council and mayor what the plans are for the Sunbury Sizzle this year, and also asking you for your approval to have road closures to ensure the safety and success of the event this year. The way that the presentation is built is we are just going to go through section by section. Councilwoman Cooper has already had the privilege of seeing this, as well as Capel at the event committee meeting. But before we get started, we just wanted to say thank you to the staff at the City of Sunbury. Daryl, Amber, and their team have been very instrumental in learnings from the previous years and how to make it successful, as well as Chief Howard and his team, and then Chief Kovach and the fire department. So it's been a really collaborative group. Good ideas, good collaboration, thoughts, just again, to ensure the safety. So if you want, we'll just jump right in. And again, we're just going to go through section by section. So we can go to the next slide. Things that we'll be covering today. Some things are new, some things are not, but we'll be covering shuttles, food trucks, music, the teens kids zone, the local group area, the beer garden, event security, and chairs. And then again, we'll be asking for the street closures. All of this came through the collaboration again of the entire planning committee or team. All right. So one of the learnings from last year and previous years is we've always provided 2 shuttles for free. This year, we're actually going to increase that to 4. The reason why is some of those learnings is by the state of Ohio, the drivers of the shuttle company, well, the state of Ohio in general, they're required to take breaks, which was a lot of the backlog during previous years for, shuttles not running. So this year, we'll at least always have 3 shuttles running and dividing out those breaks per the 4 drivers. Yep, go ahead. And then again, we're just going to each speak about our respective areas. So I'll let Teresa speak about food.
Food is basically the same as it's always been. We have taken out one vendor, which was Dan's Deli. They're just, I don't know if they're doing something else that day, but we're adding in just a local person that reached out to me, and they've been on the wait list for a little while. So it's the first time we've let a new truck come in for a while. But it's the exact same food that's been there year after year. We try to stay loyal to our food people. So there's not too much to report on that other than it's exactly the same, plus one more. So that's my area.
All right, so the reason why we're all here is for the music, of course. So I'm Brian D'Amico. I'm responsible for all the entertainment. This year a little different for setup purposes. Usually we would set up the night before. We close the streets at 6, bring the stage in, and start setup at 6 p.m. Due to additional costs that the vendor wants to provide, they now are going to come in at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. So they'll be in early, and they promised me they'll have the stage ready to go by 11:30 time frame. So we should be good to go by 11. Band lineup this year, my son and I will be emceeing as always. and DJing throughout the band, throughout each band switch over. We do have Wes Kerr coming in. He's a Big Walnut high school student, country singer, up and coming artist. I really hope you guys can kind of hear him because he's really going to be a shooting star coming up through Sunbury, which is really great to see. All the rest of the bands, Funky Waters, Nashville Crush, Brother Believe Me, have all played at Sizzle before. They know the routine, they know the lineup, so they're excited to be back. And our big headliner this year, I'm really excited. I've seen them twice, and I'm absolutely blown away by this group. They're called Jump. They're a Van Halen cover band, and they're actually touring. They just got finished touring in Australia. So they are extremely worldwide popular. This isn't just some local guy out of Lima. They're really like they're a huge band. So they've got a great setup. It's going to take a little additional work to get their gear in and everything, but you will look at the lead singer from 20 feet away and you will swear it's David Lee Roth. The way he acts, the way he talks, the way he moves, everything. It's incredible. So we're really looking forward to seeing the impact and what people think about the group this year. So. Any questions for music? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so the teen, kids, toddler local group area, this is probably going to be one of the most, it'll be the most probably visible change this year. So I'll just talk about what we're not going to do this year is we're not able to have a craft vendor area. Last year was extremely successful. It was also a huge undertaking. We weren't able to find anybody to take that undertaking on this year. And then it also caused a lot of traffic issues, safety issues with the vendors loading in that day, loading out at 5 o'clock. And there was just a lot of unforeseen chaos. Some of the feedback that we've also received is that, are there other things that, if you have a 4-year-old that doesn't hit the height requirement, could we do more with them? So the group, the planning committee came up with the idea of just changing it to a kids, toddler, teen area with local groups and organizations. So an example of what that would mean is if the Girl Scouts want to do an activity, the soccer team always does the duck tank. The cheerleaders may want to do the face painting. If there's a local business, they could possibly be there. They just have to provide a child activity. We're asking it not to necessarily be a cost to the community. And then we're also, again, going to expand with more bounce houses, working with a local vendor, Bouncing Butterflies, to do that, to just bring the community together. It's also a lot easier to close the road at 3 o'clock as we have done in the past, do the load in the night before, and then there's not the chaos of that day when kids and families are there. So that's going to be one of the largest changes that we see this year, but we think the community is really going to enjoy it. Create more memories. Our goal is to keep the wristbands at $5. I'm not going to lie, every vendor's prices have increased dramatically this year. So we're looking at this entire area being about 20 grand. I will work on the sponsorships. That's my job to find that. But again, the entire goal is to keep this family friendly, wristband staying at $5, and again, just expanding more activities for kids. So any questions about this area specifically?
The wristbands last year drew in about $5,000, so it's a dramatic disparity, but it's.
Yeah. So, okay.
Thank you.
My favorites. Everybody's favorite. Welcome, thank you. I'm Cindy Ern. I'm in charge of the beer garden. And we wanted to thank everybody for collaborating with us this year and having a plan and discussing the ins and outs of what makes it successful. And we're very thankful for our history of good behavior and things going well. This year, we are going to be hiring a private security company to come help me within the gates. It's always been a lot of pressure on police to get special duty. And so we feel, and with the agreement of the police department, that if we hired our own security team, it allows their resources to be outside covering other needs, and then they would be backup and they would be communicating with our team. We acquired this team through a program through the state of Ohio, and so they're called the ARC Protection. We'll be meeting with them pretty soon to
kind of talk about the perimeters and everything that we need. We will still need a lot of volunteers to help, but they can take some of the pressure off the volunteers where it is a little nerve-wracking to constantly be checking IDs and making sure everything flows well. We will want to expand the beer garden. So last year, we kind of went in front of Johnny Appleseed from here over. This year, with that gone and not having vendors, we want to create more space and to spread things out. And so we are asking to move it almost to the sidewalk. It still allows all ADA access. We will have the gates up by Yummy, up here on Cherry, and right here on the square. And we're still negotiating and figuring out what's the best part with that, but we want to we'll be spreading things out, working with the street department and the police about making it safe. We're using a different vendor this year, so we won't have the semi as a barricade, but we have other options through the county that we can bring in as well. And also putting like the trash truck and other vehicles, like I park right there, so I have access and stuff like that too. So we're pretty excited to help take off the burden of police. They're excited about this as well. And it allows us to have the volunteers not have so much pressure on them. One of the things, if you want to go to the next slide. A lot of disconnect last year was just working out the details of what we wanted to do with the process of the permit, and we know we need to identify things a little bit stronger. So we've discussed chairs a lot, and we've discussed safety, we've talked about occupancy, and coming up with a solution of the camping style collapsible soccer mom chair, if you want to call it that. That is what everybody has agreed upon, that would be easy to get around. These chairs down here, these three were things that we discussed that could use as a weapon if something broke out. This blanket is something that's new this year as well. The fire wanted to make sure that people didn't have blankets in the grass because it could be a tripping hazard. And coolers, as you know, outside cups would be allowed because we all know that people drink, and so they can't bring in outside liquor because that violates our permit. So that's another thing with the security company. They can cut it off. They can get in the conversation, and so it's not local people cutting their friends off or not letting them in. It helps us have more layer of protection with volunteers, and helps, they're not going to mess with 3 people hopefully. So these are the things that, the number one thing is the collapsible chair. We want to only put the grass to contain the chairs. Nothing in the streets. Will still be the tall tops. We will have a couple of spaces where we have the porta-johns as well. We'll have separate serving stations too to help with the influx in the street, because that is a problem. So going onto the grass and spreading it out allows a lot of room. So if you haven't ever walked it, I'm happy to walk with anybody out there because it's a lot more space than think once you get out there. We would probably bring in a couple of the picnic tables, but we don't really need a whole lot in there with all the tall tops. So does anybody have questions? I know this is the section that has the most thoughts and ideas or questions about.
How are you gonna let people know that chair is approved and the others are not?
Well, we have a fantastic marketing team that Jillian and our girls back here are helping with this year. And so that's a great thing about Civic. We've kind of reorganized a lot of things when we have delegated that off. So they have a whole campaign. We worked with Joey last week to do the PSA for 4th of July. I anticipate doing that again. Social media, social media, social media. It's where, on the websites we all share and we collaborate with Amber in the city and her team, as well as the chamber and the Civic. We're all unified on what the message is. And so there'll be signage. We already had a lot of signage to begin with. So it's going to be out there. I think people are excited to have it back. So I think they're going to pay attention this year for the details.
I don't have any questions. I want to say thank you to our staff, to the police, to the Civic Association, all your volunteers, and thank you for putting together this presentation for us as well. I mean, just an excellent job. It looks like it's expanding on what has already been an excellent event, and I want to thank you for that.
So the last thing we want to do is like, we're officially asking our permissions. So, after all this, right? The big ask. So again, we want to do it on Saturday the 17th. It'll be 11 a.m. 16th, sorry. Reading my notes over. On the 16th from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. With that comes with a lot of moving parts and setting up and being prepared, anticipating issues. We start on Friday. So the street closures would be Columbus Street to Greenville Street to Cherry. The 15th, that Friday night is typically when things start arriving. We try not to block streets. We try not to get in the way of business. But the big things start coming in around 3 o'clock for like the kids zone stuff. They'll put up like the big slides and some other things we might have coming. On Greenville Street to Columbus Street to Vernon is where Teresa has all her food trucks. And the events are coming in, but they also have a lot of water hoses and electric issues going on. So it's nice not to have people flying through there if we can get that closed as well. And then the big thing is the beer garden is a very large production. And so we get everything placed and we last as long as we can. Sometimes we have to close off the streets. Earlier, it's nice to close it off because we can get the beer wagons in and kind of protect them, and they will probably bring them in Friday night. But we like to build everything. We have a great partnership with the schools. The schools send us teams, but swimming and diving come Friday night and help us. The girls soccer cleans up. The boys soccer's clean up after the 4th of July. So we utilize those people to come in a reasonable time frame. But the more we can get set up, the easier the next morning goes. So we're asking to close down Vernon if we can. The earlier the better. So I know 7 p.m. is a little bit early for it, and we can go talk to the businesses there too. But I think everybody's anticipating arriving up for the next day as well. People will still be able to walk down the sidewalks. But it's just easier if we can have these street closures so we can get going on the day. Any other questions about any of that?
Yeah, so we'll have the street closure as an action item at the end of the council meeting. So there'll be an opportunity to ask some additional questions, I think, at that point, if you'd like to. We did also put on here the 4th of July. If you just want to kind of give a quick overview, I don't have a slide up there, but if you just want to provide a quick overview of where we are with the 4th. Yeah.
We're excited. The weather is good, but it's Ohio. So we will start tomorrow night. The street, Amber, they're doing great helping us get things going here on the square, because we have found that closing the parking, the inside lane here at this 90-degree, that really helps the safety factor. And so they will help set up. Jake and his crew will be helping. Amber's helping get things ready. Boss Brothers will come in tomorrow with the flatbed for the announcer at the grandstand. And then tomorrow night, my crew comes in and we set up everything. We decorate as much as we can the night before. We come in at dark 30, and people have already set their spots up on the road before I get there. And I get there around 6 a.m. It's crazy. People want to park in the parking lot too, because they want their spots for the fireworks. So we'll get up and get things closed off as quickly as we can. The police are very helpful, helping us monitor all that. And then we tend to there's a couple floats coming in early tomorrow, as well as some vehicles. The parade will start at 10 o'clock. Our Grand Marshals, the honorary Grand Marshal is Carl Strout. He's a World War II veteran, and we're super excited to have him. We just have a post today on the civic site if you want to read about him. But super cool, he's from Johnstown area. He comes to the Veterans Breakfast that the Evans produce every quarter. And then our other Grand Marshals are Raleigh DeLong, who is a football coach, and Principal Jared Runzie from Big Walnut. So people will really like seeing those familiar faces as well. So we're excited about that. We have the homecoming prom, king, queens, and all that good stuff. We've got honor guard, all kinds of floats. We have about 80 entries right now. And I think it's a little low, honestly, because it's a holiday, that it's a Friday. We have a lot of dignitaries not coming. Representative Beth Lear and Brenner are coming. Judge Manesky comes every year in his full suit. He loves this parade. A lot of the county people are coming as well. So we're super excited. So from there, the parade will go on. We have people working, helping with trash and all that stuff. The biggest thing we're trying to do is red vests. And it's hard when we all have that understanding, but it's hard when parents don't pay attention, and I'm being very honest, like, there's only so much I can do as the organizer, so we're trying to think of how to be creative to have kid safety and crowd control. So we're asking people to volunteer to be a red vest, and that what they would do is like, if this is my family and I'm on the street, we just would help, help people stay back, because parents just let their kids run. So the more volunteers we can get, and it's the first real year for this, we're hoping people will step up and volunteer. I have about 7 right now. I'd like to have 20 between both sides from this big L shape, because this is where the big pinch point is, where it's like 10, 20 people. And so if anybody, we can share it again, but it's not too late to do it, to volunteer. But that's where we're really convicted to try to keep it safe. We know bad things can happen to a good event. So that's the biggest change with volunteers. We always can use volunteers in the evening. Jillian, if you want to speak to the nighttime. Does anybody have a question about the parade?
Evening's gonna be fun. So we have 9 food trucks, so everything's gonna be at the middle school. We have 9 food trucks confirmed, and then we have a really elaborate kid zone. Thanks to our sponsors, it's absolutely free to the public. So there's gonna be a lot of inflatables, a lot of, like cornhole, bucket, the rubber, like axe throwing stuff. And then at 8:30, there's gonna be a glow foam party. There'll be a DJ from 4 to 9 there, and then he will be DJing for the fireworks and everything else. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's free to those activities are all free to the public. And after the foam party, it'll end around 8:45, 9. We're going to send all the kids back to their mom and dads, and it'll be again an easy, quick cleanup because the high school teams have volunteered to help do that. But it'll be a lot of fun. So encourage people to come out and participate, and again, it's free and just a fun time. So any questions about
So
that?
maybe just one final thought. I mean, you've got a lot of great sponsorships this year. We appreciate
Yes.
if you just want to call out
Yes, Oliver,
few.
you're testing me.
a few.
Okay.
No,
No, it's easy. It's easy.
Yeah.
So the Eagles have stepped up tremendously for the community, not only for the 4th of July, but for the sizzle to make everything happen. And again, this community is great. Grew up here, love it. Because every time I make an ask, they're like, absolutely. So we also have Blue Birch Construction. We have Great Beginnings Learning Center. I'm on the spot now. So I know. Stop. Bouncing Butterflies, Bright City Church, Car Orthodontics, Jill Love from Remax, Lower.com has stepped up. Crown of Dublin has stepped up. And then I know I'm gonna forget somebody. Oh, the VFW. So the VFW is actually gonna have a really cool evening event. So they're gonna have their trailer out there, but then they're gonna have an area for the kids to be able to make veteran bracelets.
Oh, cool.
So they can either keep or they can donate it and they can give that back to a veteran. So that's something really cool that they've
Great.
done. And then again, we can't thank police and fire in the city of Sunbury enough. I did, as being part of the Joint Recreational District, asked Berkshire and Galena to step up for the fireworks, and Galena was able to contribute to the fireworks along with the city of Sunbury. Berkshire is still working it out. They just have a different payment auditing system that they have to figure out by the end of the year, but they'll be good. But yeah, really great sponsors. I think more than that we've ever had, and couldn't say enough about the community and everybody coming together. So
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Last year, we're about 30% in fees. This year, we gave us a minimum without a notification.
Jeez.
And so next year, we know it's rising as well, so we'll probably shop around a little bit more. But thank you for your support too, because it is a great event and people come from all over the northeast side of Delaware County, so it is well received. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for civic representation?
You know what, the students that help out, do they get community service hours?
They get National
Good.
Society.
That would be great.
A lot of the teams, they want that as part of their program.
Yeah.
So it's fun, they get to participate, you can see what they put on and then that they all love. So it makes it really cool.
Any other questions? I have a question for council. Are there any reservations about the road closures? Any concerns? Okay, I'd like to make a motion now and just pull this up in the agenda. save you a little bit of time. You can stick around if you want, but you don't have to. So I'll list these out. I'll make a motion to close Columbus Street from East Granville to Cherry Street on August 15th at 3 p.m. until August 16th at midnight. Additionally, East Granville Street from Columbus Street to Vernon Street, South Vernon Street, August 15th at 6 p.m. until August 16th at midnight. And also closing South Vernon Street from East Granville to East Cherry Street, August 15th at 7 p.m. until August 17th at 9 a.m.
Second.
Got a second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion? Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
5 yeas, motion passes.
For coming in tonight. See everybody on the floor. Yes. Thank you. All right, we're opening it up to visitors. Are there any visitors that would like to speak with City Council? We got Barry Bennett. Come on up. Got 3 minutes. You can stay. You got 30 seconds. 3 minutes. Name and address, sir.
Barry Bennett, 272 High Street, Sunbury, Ohio.
Thank you, sir.
Before I get on to the two quick things, I had a comment on your early street closures. In years past, recently, in fact, this year, I think, I had some, I'd like to say complaints, but it was more like screams from some of my tenants that were not, or say they were not informed of early street closures. So I am only requesting that council let them know.
Of course. Thank you.
The two items I have are, I mentioned before, the first one is, since it is now summer, I think everybody is aware of that, is the still unsolved issue of bike racks. It has become a huge problem in front of the coffee shop. They're leaning their bikes on my 100-year-old tin walls and on the windows and on anything they can find there. I don't have a solution. I'm just restating the problem. I imagine the city's working on something for bike racks, but
this was on our agenda today for the parks meeting, and we had to cancel the parks meeting because we didn't have a quorum. So I would just say that it is, we have noted it. We will be talking about it.
okay. The other one, again, I've mentioned it before, no solution, just to bring to council's attention, because you're probably not aware, being in a building, is still more than just a few heavy trucks going down the brick road on Granville. I don't know why. I don't know. They're coming from all the way up on 3. I don't know why they're even coming that way, but they're coming straight through and going to 37 right down the brick road. And that can't be good for anybody. And that's all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was well under 3 minutes.
He reserves the rest for next time.
Trucks, bike racks, communication on closure. Are there any other visitors that would like to speak with City Council? Okay, all right. We are on to committee reports. Ms. Dreher?
At the Delaware County Regional Planning Commission, actually, there wasn't much. We all agreed on everything. It went very smoothly. The one item that's closest to us is Bradley and Christina Cannon in Harlow Township. They are going for a lot split, AR1 to FR1, to allow for the lot split, and it was approved for the family, so all good.
Thank you for the update.
Sure.
Mr. Grumney?
No update for me.
Can I come to you last, since yours is longest?
Sure.
That's fine. There was no zoning meeting.
Parks meeting.
Great, that was
Mr. Capel.
All right, so we had an extremely busy services committee meeting tonight. The bulk of which was spent talking about the 2025 and future street improvement plans. So we went over again what the current street improvement plan is. It's going to be delayed a little bit because our contractor is held up because of weather, because it's been raining just a little bit over the last few weeks. So they're a little bit behind, but we'll get more of an update on that here soon. Then Jake presented on crack seal for road maintenance, showed some of the roads that they were going to be focused on with the crack sealing program this year. And then some of the more interesting discussion was centered around where we go in the future with the streets program. So we've talked about this a little bit before about kind of focusing our OPWC grant application on different things potentially, and getting a head start on the road planning instead of waiting for OPWC to maybe we can get better priority pricing and scheduling. So we're looking at that again. And we're also looking at investing in some software potentially to help us with our street assessments as opposed to paying for PACER studies to be done every couple of years. There's a lot more than that. Highly encourage anybody that wants to watch a riveting hour of street talk to look that one up and watch it. Talked about reviewed briefly on the State Route 37 widening meeting that happened. Basically, we're in the information gathering from citizens, and we're going to hear more on it in the future with some options as to what direction we want to go and what the public preference is for the different options. Real quick bullet points. Walnut Street stabilization might be seeing paving at the end of next week. Once again, rain delays have impacted that. Work going on at wastewater treatment plant. There was a serious rain event on the 26th of June at 3:30 p.m. Hard to miss that one, but it rained about 2 inches in 20 minutes of time, according to our readings. So a lot of issues with some basements flooded, some streets flooded, some yards flooded, and we've been in the process of looking into those issues. And I think that was it. That was the high points.
Thank you. On the flooding, the other issue was just the size and scale scope of that, and it was the equivalent of 6 inches per hour of rain. And I think I said this in another meeting, but there's no storm system that we can install without tearing the city apart to handle that type of rainstorm and oversizing everything. So I know there were some, especially, I mean, if your basement floods or if you have water anywhere inside your house, that's a problem. The city wasn't immune to it either. And I think we're going to be talking about that next. Chief Howard. Police report.
Thank you, Mayor. First topic we've talked about quite a bit, the cruiser upfitting. We went back and forth on this. Want to just report that Bullet has delivered our third car. We gave them 17 days to complete that, and we had it in 14. So they now have the fourth car, and we will have that by, I forget what he told me, the 25th of this month. So I think they've got it figured out. It came back over. We've had a couple minor issues on the other two. The manager spent probably 2 hours here today just doing some programming stuff for us, and everything is matching on track, and we're good with that. The second item there, I got a phone call today that we can basically scratch all of that with the Tahoes. That has been driving me crazy. The city's been working out money to fix these things. We fixed the one Tahoe. It was about a $3,000 fix. It lasted about 7,000 miles, and the new GM lifters that we purchased to put in it failed. I got a call today from a GM dealership up by Cleveland. They said, get us the truck. We will take care of it for you. We will replace your engine, and it will cost us as little as $1 or up to $1,000. But he said with the mileage being under 100,000 and as close as we were on time, that he was just going to tell me he was going to get that close to the $1 price point and get us back in service. It's a problem GM has. They know it's there and they will fix it.
Oh, goodness.
So it's going to cost us a tow bill to get it there, but $700 is a lot cheaper than the $7,000 we were getting ready to spend.
Good news. Take the rest of the day off after this.
The flooding at the building, I submitted some pictures there. When I did the report up, I wasn't real sure of the the magnitude, excuse me, of the rain we got. I know I hit panic mode though when we got to the back door and there was like 6 inches of water over the drain. And when we opened the back door to see what was up, it just come gushing in like. So I called Daryl. Basically said, don't call me, call somebody else. So we did make some phone calls. We understand the drain issues. There's nothing we can do. However, we did have a couple roofs or a couple leaks in the roof. We had a couple window seals that failed. So I did reach back out to Sutherland. They sent a guy down, and then they have contacted the proper people and made appointments for them to come in and fix the seals and do what needs done. They're also working on the air conditioning unit. We can skip over that. I put in the patrol stats for 24 compared to 25 for May and June. Those are pretty self-explanatory unless you have any questions.
Good question, but not on the stats.
Okay. Is it gonna be on the next page?
I'm gonna go back to this, to your
Oh,
building.
okay.
This is major to me. This is a brand new building and this is major. Isn't ultimately Sutherland responsible for this? I mean, my house is well over 100 years old and I didn't get windows leaking. That this, I kind of think this is unexcusable.
Most of the problem that we got from the water in the building came from the flooding out back that got up. Like I said, it was a good 6 inches above the drain. The drain out in the middle of the parking lot was actually bubbling water out of it, so that line was full. There was no place for water to go. We had some seals that had leaked that we had reached out to the company before for garage doors. And they were gonna come fix it. And then we've 2 or 3 calls to them and they've never came to fix it. So now we've reached back out to Sutherland and said, listen, we've called about the warranty work. What can you guys do? So they now have reached out to them. I guess if they don't come back and work on that, we'll get Mr. Ream involved and he can.
That's a brand new building, really. And
Yeah.
Sutherland's ultimately responsible, in my opinion.
Yeah, so Sutherland continues to be responsive, so hopefully that will continue. I will say the drain in the back, I mean, that is, when we went out to do the elevations on that and pave the asphalt or pave the parking lot in the back, I mean, we realized almost immediately that was a challenge because the building sits lower than the parking lot itself. So that's why I think, as I'd indicated to others, I mean, we did try to reconfigure the back entry. We did try to move, add some additional drains in that area, doing whatever we could to kind of help alleviate this issue. But when it falls at a rate of 2 inches per hour and the main line is full, it's tough. So, I mean, I
hate to differ with you, but Sutherland's been in business for a long time. They're a big name.
Mhm.
And we're gonna have them do more work, is my question. I don't know. I'd question their ability.
Sure.
The majority of the water came in through a garage door, though, right? Yeah, so the drain was overflowing. The owner of the building decided to have garage doors there and we could have built a wall that would have deflected the water around the building, but we wanted the garage door for functionality, things like that. So, I mean, a portion of this we own 100%.
And I will say that the garage doors themselves are not what failed. It was, we didn't know how high the water was in the back lot there. And when the man door opened, it was like opening a floodgate. It just whoosh, come in.
If you would have known water was on the other side, you wouldn't have opened it.
Correct. You would have never opened that door.
So that's the majority of the.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the leaky window seals, totally agree. Roof patch issue, got some sort of warranty with Newman or somebody that, and you guys are looking into that, right?
Yeah, Tim Newman has been great. He's been down, a couple times. The area that leaks is, it's the same place every time. And Mr. Newman has been down. He sent crews down. No, I want to say there was no cuts in that area. It's something to do with a seal up there on the flat roof that they keep coming and repairing. You get a normal rain, it doesn't leak. You don't notice anything. That rain we got the other day was like buckets. So, but they are sending a guy down to look at that to see if it's something that has came loose again or what. But, like I said, Mr. Newman's been great about coming down and taking care of anything that we've needed with that roof.
Yeah. I guess what, Ms. Dreyer is asking is, are we still confident in Sutherland's ability to perform the work since they're gearing up to do things right now, right? I guess that's the question.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I am confident in Sutherland's ability to do the work. Absolutely confident.
Any other comments or questions? Anything else, Chief?
Just the last page there is the radar sign, the data information that I tried to simplify it the best I could instead of putting those sheets in front of you and having you go through and decipher all those. I was able to just put down the location, Granville and Sunbury Meadows, the vehicle count, the average speed over 35 miles per hour, the peak speed, and then the average speed.
Really helpful. Thank you.
Figure that would keep you guys out of the weeds of trying to figure everything else out on the
Yeah,
other sheets.
succinct and comparing apples to apples. Thank you, sir.
We were able to, what the last thing I'll say is we took High Street off because there was no place to put a radar sign, but the services department has got a sign put up in the right of way, and that one sign is actually being moved to High Street tonight.
Okay, great.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Hey, thanks in advance for all the sacrifice that you and your team are going to make over the next 48 hours, 72 hours. I know it's going to be stressful. Good weather is good, but that means more people are doing things. Thanks a lot. I know it's a stressful time for everyone, and your team has taken time away from their family to protect ours. Thanks again.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right, team, anything else for the police? We're on to the administrator report. Mr. Hennessy.
So just a couple of items. You may have noticed we've done a little bit of concrete repair around the square. Particularly I'm very pleased that we fixed that entryway over there near the doorway to the kitchen on the north side of the building. That entry had been crumbling, and so that has been repaired. And then we did some work out near the Veterans Memorial as well. So this is one of those items that indicated, Damon, that as we talk about trying to invest in the square, certainly this should have been a priority in the past, but I think the committee reminded us that we need to be staying on top of this because it's a front yard for many people in the community. It's a gathering space for a lot of public events. So important that we invest and improve our own space as well. The only other thing I wanted to call out then on the second page, oversized loads. Mr. Bennett had indicated that not just yesterday, but we did have a fair number of semis and other vehicles coming down Granville Street. That was a result of a failure to navigate the turn successfully by the vehicle that's in the picture that I placed here. The trailer failed with the hydraulic lift in the back. It got stuck, and I think it was at least 2 hours before it was free. There was a state highway patrolman on scene, and that was very helpful. And the PD very helpful in trying to route traffic around this intersection while this was going on. So a couple of things. One is we have, continued to document. So Alyssa and Amber have done a great job of just documenting when we have had issues at this intersection, the damage that's being done. If you go out there, you'll see that they're scraping along that sidewalk. They've damaged the sidewalk. They've damaged the handicap, so the detection pad as well out there. So we've documented that, we've shared that with ODOT, and we continue to try to get ODOT's permit department to route these around Sunbury. It sounds like, based upon a conversation yesterday, that perhaps some of the permit staff have been routing them around the city, but not all of the members. So we'll continue to kind of press this point with ODOT.
I'm grateful that you put this in your report because I've been getting, you guys are probably too, I've been getting complaints, folks who work on the square, folks who are just traveling in this area. I mean, I live over here too. It is like, it's constant. When I turn out of my neighborhood, I can't turn right because there's a wide load coming up. So I'm grateful to know what you guys are doing about it. So I appreciate this in the report. I also appreciate the other, I don't know what I did, the part about the bricks. Because I've been getting calls about those too. What are they doing with the bricks on the square? What are they? So I'm grateful for that too. So I can pass that on. So thank you for
I
your
mean, we're
report.
still, I still think we're gonna replace some of the sidewalk panels that are cracked as well. So I don't think we're done
But
necessarily.
that's what
on
you're
the square,
doing
but
is
that's what we're-
repairing, not pulling them out.
Right, correct,
Okay.
correct. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Unless there are any questions? Thanks.
Mrs. Odebrowski, the engineer's report.
Yes, the committee reports covered most of my update. I did want to highlight a few more items on the East Granville widening project. The public meeting that Mr. Capel mentioned during the committee report was on June 25th at this building from 5 to 7 p.m. It was extremely well attended. There were 32 people that signed in. I do believe that we maybe didn't capture everybody. It was busy the entire 2 hours. We had city staff there. ODOT was in attendance, as well as American Structure Point, the design consultant. So this public outreach presented 3 alternatives that shared different cross sections of the road, essentially different options for sidewalks, shared use paths. All this information is available on the city's website, and the public was encouraged to provide written comment either at the event if possible, or to think about it a little while, and then they have the option to either scan in comments, email comments, or drop them off at the city building. We plan on collecting comments over the next 30 days through July 23rd. So if there's anybody interested in this project, we are still accepting comments. We will put them in a spreadsheet and respond to anybody that had a question and provided their return information so that we can answer any questions that were had. So I did also want to bring up next steps for this project. So after 30 days, when we have the comments, we will be looking to come back to council to update the design contract. If you recall, we basically had the design awarded to American Structure Point as a task 1 item with task 2 blank. Task 1 goes through the public outreach phase. Once we wrap up our involvement in this, we'll be going to the next phase, which is identifying the exact configuration and going into detailed design, working with the utility companies to relocate items, and working with homeowners on right-of-way or easement impacts to their properties. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions? Comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Grumney, I need to rely on you for resolutions. I'll be back.
Okay, all right,
Moment.
all right.
So we've got a couple second readings, and if you want to drag those out.
All right, so there are no third readings, so we'll go right into the second readings. Resolution 2025.14, a resolution awarding the contract for the Sunbury Municipal Building renovations, lower level project to Setterling Building Company. Nothing to do with that, correct? That's just a reading.
Reading only, yes.
Okay, resolution number 2025.16, a resolution approving construction, administration, and inspection services with Environmental Design Group relating to the Columbus Street parking lot improvements. Resolution number 2025.17, a resolution accepting a grant award from the Ohio Department of Development for updates to the Sunbury zoning code, approving the required matching funds, and authorizing the city administrator to execute all necessary documents. Sorry. All right.
Here we go,
That
Dave.
takes us to, let's see.
We're on first readings, resolution number 2025.18, a resolution supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States semi-quincentennial and joining with America 250 Ohio to commemorate this and celebrate the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States of America.
So maybe I can just add a little bit more about that.
Sure.
Not that we need action, we don't this evening. But we've talked a little bit about, I think, through the events and parks committees, an effort that's underway to do a Patriots Memorial for those graves that are unmarked, but not forgotten. Somewhere in the city, and the design competition for that is underway. That is tangentially connected to this 250th anniversary celebrations. But what this resolution would do is it actually frees up some grant funding that the city may be able to secure to put on some other types of events. So Amber and Alyssa have been working on this a little bit. So I don't know, maybe tell them just, you know,
Okay.
what you're doing.
That's a surprise. Well, with this resolution, what it will do, it'll open up a media toolkit for me as well. And then it will give me the availability to go after the funding that's already been set aside and then submit our plans and everything, and then get grants to support that community event. So it doesn't cost anything for the community to come to the event. I know a lot of places around here are doing a community picnic, and I would love to see how that happens to feed a whole community for free. But they're doing community picnics, and what we've realized is they're not doing this on the 4th of July. This is another event in itself. So that would be another thing we're looking at and considering. Do we want to take away from the 4th of July with another event, or do we want to combine it all together?
So more to come. So we were just talking a little bit more about what the 250 semi-quincentennial celebration is all about. All right. So we're now on to ordinances.
Was there a vote on that? Okay.
No.
Right, great. All readings, correct? On this? All right, great, thank you. All right, we are on to ordinances, third reading, ordinance number 2025.18. It's currently tabled. I'll make a motion to untable. Second. Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
5 yeas, motion passes.
So we've already done a third reading, but I may ask Mr. Hennessy to just provide a little bit of context into where we are related to this ordinance and any other issues with Pulte and Price Ponds.
Yeah, so we had tabled this issue because there was an outstanding issue with respect to trees and trails in Price Ponds as related to sections 4 and 5. Since that time, what we've been able to do is capture a commitment from Pulte, the developer in this particular case. They had removed some trees in an area where they had anticipated locating a trail. That trail route that they had anticipated had never been approved by the city. And we made it clear to them that that was not going to be the direction in which the city went. So we were fortunate and able to get out and identify the amount of caliper trees lost as a result of that. So we've captured that. It's basically 45 caliper trees, 3 inches each, will be replaced. So they will replace the trees, or at least a portion of the trees in that area, and then bank the balance of the trees, meaning place someplace else in the neighborhood. But one of the other things we wanted to capture is that there was another section of trail, a different section of trail where some trees were removed adjacent to a property owner who did not anticipate that those trees would be removed. And so the Pulte has committed to doing a more detailed understanding of the alignment of the trail, and then figuring out what, if any, additional screening we'll be able to place there. So we'll be able to use this bank to be able to address some of the concerns that resident raised. So we documented that in a memo to the file. Pulte has signed off on that, and I think we'll add a note to the engineering documents as well, just to, again, capture their commitment there. So now that I think that's in place, and then the other change, the mayor had indicated at one point there was one parcel that had kind of a little triangle piece. They have fixed that to basically eliminate sort of this orphaned area So I think we're ready to go with approval if council's ready to do so.
Gail, can I just get a quick question? So is the commitment enforceable? I mean, it's one thing to say, yeah, we're gonna do it, and I know we have a document signed, but you know, is that something we can enforce, or is that just? Or is it just a thank you,
bet.
it's nice?
No, we can definitely enforce it.
Okay,
And like I said, if we add a note to the engineering, documents as well, I mean, that's a commitment from them to carry that out, and that's some additional weight.
very good. Okay, thank you.
Is that something we can load into OpenGov? Yes,
Yeah.
please. Thank you. All right, so it is tabled. The other question I had for staff and maybe for Mr. Bream, there's emergency language on this. Do we need this as an emergency?
Really remember, I don't know. What does the emergency do from here?
Makes it immediately effective versus a 30-day waiting period.
Right.
So what's the, Carly, can you help me a little bit with this? Do you know where they are with the, do you know where Pulte is with respect to, sections 4 and 5 and moving forward on that? Is it within the next 30 days or do you know?
They've already started this work in sections 4 and 5 for public.
Yeah. But
Are they bonding though, or are they completing the improvements and then flag?
Yeah, but let me get back to you on that. They want on for that.
If they're bonding, they could begin lot sales. Once this is, the plat is approved. We don't approve and sign the plat absent the improvements either being completed or bonding to complete the improvements.
I find it hard to believe they're gonna be selling lots in that way.
I can't imagine it.
With all the information I just heard, I'm gonna make a motion to remove the emergency language from the ordinance. Make that motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
5 yeas, motion passes.
Make a motion on ordinance 2025.18.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
5 yeas, motion passes.
The ordinance will be effective in 30 days. Thank you. All right, ordinance number 2025.19, also tabled. It's a third reading. I'll make a motion to untable. Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. 5 yeas, motion passes.
Mr. Hennessy, do you want to provide a little bit of context on this as well?
So, the reason we had tabled this motion, we were still working through, an agreement with the county. The county had objected to the tax incentive district. And their objection was largely just to make sure that we were committing to using the TIF proceeds, for the construction of Four Winds Drive and then Sunbury Parkway. So we have, with the help of Mr. Franzman and Mr. Bream, drafted a document that the county supports, that limits the use of the funds for that particular purpose. So now that is in place, feel like this is ready to proceed.
This one also has emergency language and there is some impetus to get this moving. They're looking to move forward on funding Four Winds Drive and the improvements, correct?
Yeah, they're on a very tight schedule,
Okay.
so yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion on the emergency.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
5 yeas, motion passes.
I'll make a motion on ordinance 2025.19.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
5 yeas, motion passes.
Ordinance number 2025.22, an ordinance approving the final plat for Eagle Creek subdivision, section 2, and declaring an emergency. Any comments on this one? Any reservations moving forward? All right, does anybody want to make a motion? I'll keep it moving.
Motion.
We got a motion on the emergency by Mr. Grumney, second by Mayor St. John. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Dreyer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
5 yeas, motion passes.
Motion on ordinance 2025.22.
Second, motion by Mr. Grumney, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Dreyer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
5 yeas, motion passes.
Ordinance number 2025.23, an ordinance approving proposed amendments to the City of Sunbury, Ohio Charter as recommended by the Charter Review Commission and directing the Clerk of Council to certify the same to the Delaware County Board of Elections for placement of the question in the charter amendments upon the November 4th, 2025 general election ballot to be submitted to the city's electors for final review and approval. Based on statutory guidelines, we need to table this, correct?
Yep.
I'll make
That's
that
correct.
motion.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion? Roll call?
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Dreyer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
5 yeas, motion passes.
No second readings. First reading, ordinance number 2025.24, an ordinance authorizing the expansion of the city's community reinvestment area number 041-75602-01 and amending resolution number 2006-04 and ordinance number 2024.12 and declaring an emergency as a reading only. On to new and unfinished business. We already covered road closures. Wanted to give council a quick update, and you've probably seen at least some of the updates. Mr. Hennessy, I think, passed some information along to you. Our lobbyists had passed information along to us, the Ohio Municipal League. So House Bill 335 made it into the budget bill, but the inside millage portion, the portion that I personally objected to, was removed before it went to the budget bill. There are elements of House Bill 335 that are going into effect. Some of them have to do with county expanding the homestead exemption, potential for counties to do a match. There are certain portions that limit how school districts can put on levies and bonds onto the ballot and the wording they have to use. I don't have enough of the information in front of me right now to tell you exactly how this impacts the city of Sunbury. I think it's probably more impactful to school districts. However, Governor DeWine line item vetoed, I think, 63 different elements of the budget bill. And now there's a concerted effort to, what do they call it, referendum, or basically where they overrule the governor. They're trying to get a 60% vote, and I think they have 90 days to do that. Just let me back up a little bit more. I still think we need to have the discussion about inside millage. The city of Sunbury only has one element of real estate tax that is revenue for the city. Again, it's between 2 and 5% impact to any business or resident, depending if you live in an annexed area or not. However, it's 11% of our budget. If council feels like we should address inside millage and do away with it, are we looking for other revenue sources? Are we looking at cutting things? Are we looking at lowering our cash balances? Those are questions I would have for you and for the general public. And I think we should really get the public to engage us in that. I complain about real estate taxes, like to my wife, but on the other hand, it's definitely not in my top 50 complaints that I get, the amount of real estate tax. I can tell you a lot of people complain about a lady named Rita, but not as much, at least for the city portion, about real estate tax. It could be different based on who you interact with and how people access you as an elected official, but let's just keep the discussion going. Is there anything at this point that you would like to discuss related to House Bill 335, inside millage, or any strategy on how to address the issue that the state was trying to solve for us?
I would just say that I wouldn't say it's probably done. I mean, it came out this time. But the idea of the income or the property taxes, some of it's probably not going away. So I think we need to play offense on this. And I don't know if that means reaching out to our local representatives and maybe meeting with them, or continue to share our story on what that means to the impact to the city and our residents. Continue to inform residents on what the impact would be on the city if it were to go through, to try to garner, more support onto why it may not be a great idea. Kind of like I said, kind of a little bit extra cash in your, maybe a little savings, but a bigger impact on the community you live in, and ultimately could hurt obviously the schools and public services. So I think, again, I don't think we should this caught us by surprise because no one knew. But we now know. So I think we have to, as a council and as a city, need to be more proactive on this going forward. So.
I think part of that proactive approach too is maybe having at least our heads wrapped around what happens if the decision comes and it's out of our hands. Sure. If you have the amendment pass that eliminates property taxes altogether, which very well may not happen ever, but then the inside millage argument is moot at that point. So it'd be a good idea to know what are our options at that point. How do we recover? Thankfully, 2.5% is not the end of the world.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I think that's maybe a takeaway for Dana to provide some level of optionality there. It's kind of like we're hitting a moving target because our revenues are increasing, but it's also somewhat in line with our growth, right? But inside millage being round numbers 10%. What does it do? If it's like next year, if we get no real estate tax, what are we cutting out of the budget in August, September, October this year for our next year's budget to account for that? I think that's a discussion we have throughout the budget cycle.
And what other revenue sources do we have to look at to cover the gap?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, it's not just about cutting. It's how can we be more efficient? How can we, seek other funding sources, like you said? Any comments or questions?
The governor is trying to put through a flat tax. How would that affect?
That passed, and I don't think that came from the Senate and the House. They're looking to do a flat tax. It's currently anybody who makes over $100,000, and don't quote me exactly, but it's like 3.5% of taxes. The flat tax will go to 3.125, I think, beginning next year. And then there's a further reduction that goes, I think, down to 2.75, but that's for everybody, unless you're below the poverty line, which is you make less than $20,000 a year, then you pay zero, any state income tax. It doesn't affect Sunbury directly in that our revenues would be reduced. It would be the state revenues that would be reduced. And don't hold me to all the numbers, but it is a reduction. Is that generally close?
And I was gonna say that's roughly close. The note I'm making is I'll ask, I know the Montrose Group is going to prepare a summary of what was approved in the budget. I'll ask him maybe if they could pull out and provide maybe a little bit more detail about the tax rate, flat tax issue, maybe a little bit more about what did survive on the property tax side in the budget bill. And then, of course, I got the note. I will work with Dana. So for the next finance committee meeting to start talk about, if it were to happen, there were an 11% cut to our general operating fund. Kind of what happens? What are the scenarios around that? So
you think of like Florida is the one that always stands out to me, that they have zero state income tax. That's why a lot of people retire there or move there in general, because you don't have to pay any. I mean, we're compared to like New York, we're low. Compared to Florida, we're high. I feel like the Congress is attempting to get more in line with the Floridas of the world and go to a different operating model from a revenue perspective.
They get revenue though from other areas.
Exactly right.
Mhm.
Yeah, sales tax is a huge one. You're exactly right. Yeah, their operating model is quite a bit different, especially when it comes to schools too. I mean, they've got like county school districts and ours is drastically different than that.
Thank you for using us updated.
Got it. Any other, any new or unfinished business, Mr.
And I was looking at this ordinance number 2025, and I think they've got the exhibit B, any additional project which the city of Delaware County, Ohio mutually agree will benefit the parcels as the proposed interchange at I-70, 36 and 37. I think they mean 71.
Which one is this?
I think you're right.
Good catch.
Good catch.
HB1.
Mr. Martin would be proud. Great catch.
Okay. Great catch. Thank you.
One more.
Okay.
Is PUDs. Would they be attached to a home or they're their own fully functioning unit with sewer, water?
AGL.
This is part of that Department of Development.
58.
The Housing Technical Assistance Program, where
Oh. The grant award? Yeah. All right, ask that question again.
the PUD units, would they be a whole separate unit? Like, for example, I could put another house on my property. Would it have to go through channels, and would it automatically have sewer, water, electric, would it be its own fully functioning unit?
Where do you see in PUD? I just want to make sure planned use district is what I normally say is PUD.
Maybe.
Is it on page 58?
No, it's in this Department of Development where they're wanting to increase houses or housing in certain areas. And it's kind of always been my theory that you can't snap your fingers and magically make houses appear. I mean, it's just more than throwing money at the situation. So I was just wondering, and it talks about these planned urban units or planned development units, and maybe I'm misunderstanding them.
I want to help, but can't find what you're saying, what you're referring to.
The grant goes to help make comprehensive plans.
Yeah, this is helping us modernize our zoning code. They're basically paying for us to,
Research.
go out
Is
and
there-
hire consultants
well,
to.
This is an accessory dwelling unit, in-law suites and other forms of housing outside of traditional dwellings.
Yeah, so the question is about the HTAP grant. So that's the funding that the Ohio Department of Development has awarded the city $50,000 for its $70,000 project. What she's looking at is the description in our application. It talks about that the city doesn't have zoning code regarding additional dwelling units. Yeah, I was gonna say dwelling units. I mean, that's just kind of a description of where we are. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's what our zoning code will say. Zoning code process is an extended process. It'll go through the Planning and Zoning Commission. It'll go through council as well. I mean, you will see the proposed changes to our district. That this is just an example of kind of things that might be missing from our district that we should at least be talking about.
Okay, because my home is in the C2 district, and if they do allow another unit, it might be feasible for me to put a commercial structure. And if they're gonna do in-law suites, something that's a commercial, I mean, I don't know what the difference would be.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a discussion, I mean, what kind of density You know, do we want our zoning districts? I mean, keep in mind that we talked about updating our zoning district to reflect the changes that came from the Parkway plan. So there are some recommended districts, but there's not the detail behind that. And that's really the impetus behind, you know, making this update to our zoning code. I mean, at some point, if we're able to work our way all the way back to existing districts, I mean, maybe that topic comes up, but I don't think that's the priority of the zoning updates that we've been talking about.
This is kind of like us. We did an effort to develop the Sunbury Business and Technology Park in the limited industrial district. I mean, we're kind of creating this from scratch. At that point, we paid out of pocket to Rodan to support that effort. And in this case, the state of Ohio is helping us pay for that as we look towards the Parkway and creating new zoning districts. Any other new or unfinished business? Mr. Grumney?
I will not be here for the next council meeting or finance meeting.
Would you still like to have the finance meeting or would you like to cancel, Mr. Chairman?
I think that depends, Mr. Hennessy. Are we gonna have anything
We
hot?
should have it.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right.
Sorry, I was joking.
That's you had that look of seriousness in your eye. Okay.
No, we don't have that one.
Yeah.
Good to go on without you then.
Yeah, well, try your hardest.
Enjoy your time away.
Thank you, thank you.
Mr. Capel?
Nothing here.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Amber put out on the Facebook page today the video that Joey Thomas made for the 4th of July. So I just wanted to say thank you to Joey and to the police department, fire department, to the staff for making that happen. Cindy had mentioned that she anticipates there would be a video for Sizzle. I talked to Joey this weekend. We're on the same ball team, and I asked him if anything was happening because the video hadn't come out yet, and in my Facebook memories the video had already come out, and he said yes, we've already done the 4th of July video, and he hadn't been reached out to about Sizzle. So I would just like to ask the city if we can help facilitate a video for Sizzle with all the changes. That'd be good. So thank you.
Great. All right. Just want to say, let's enjoy the 4th of July. It honestly probably is my favorite holiday in Sunbury. I love it. I love, in this case, that it's a 3-day weekend. I know this is very hard on the police and fire safety. It's amazing. Our weather is perfect again, hot, but perfect. And happy 249th anniversary of America. What an accomplishment we've made.
Motion to adjourn?
We got a motion to adjourn by Mrs. Cooper. Second by Mrs. Dreher. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Dreher?
Yes.
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 Yes.